All right, so are you ready to do a deep dive into cat communication?
Always ready.
I think people are going to be surprised by some of this stuff.
I think so too.
I mean, I thought I knew a lot about cats,
Uh,
but just going through the research for this deep dive, I was like, whoa, there's a lot more to it than I thought.
Absolutely.
So, we have some of your notes here.
Yes.
And we've also been looking at some recent research. And I think that people are going to find this fascinating.
Oh, for sure.
So let's just jump right in with meows.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the classic.
A quintessential cat sound.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
And I've always just kind of assumed
Yeah.
that my cat was just chatting with me.
Right.
like a furry little roommate.
Yeah.
But I was reading in one of your notes that meows are actually pretty rich in the wild.
Yeah, that's right. Adult cats rarely meow at each other.
Really?
Yeah, it seems that they've developed meowing almost exclusively for communicating with humans.
Mm-hmm. So they're not meowing at each other.
No, not really.
If they meow at us.
To us.
Yeah.
So, like, why?
Oh, you have to think about it. Like, early on, the cats who could effectively communicate their needs to humans, hey, I'm hungry, or let me in, they were probably more likely to be cared for.
Right.
And to thrive.
Yeah.
So, it comes down to their adaptability.
So it's almost like they trained us.
Yeah, in a way.
To respond to their meows.
What? Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of brilliant.
They're clever little creatures.
They really are.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got all these different types of meows.
Yeah.
How do we tell what they mean?
Well, it really is all about the context and the tone.
Okay.
So, a short, high-pitched meow might just be a greeting.
Okay.
While a long, drawn-out meow could signal a need, like hunger or wanting attention or to be let out. Right. And then you have the more urgent yowls, which often indicate distress or pain.
Like if they're hurt.
Okay, so meows, that's pretty straightforward.
Well, I mean,
I thought it was straightforward.
More straightforward than we thought.
Right. But then there's purring.
Oh, yeah.
I always associated purring with pure contentment.
Right.
Like, my cat's curled up on my lap.
Yeah.
She's purring. I'm like, oh, she's happy.
Right.
But that's not always the case.
You're not alone in that assumption.
Okay.
What's fascinating is that purring isn't always about happiness.
Really?
Yeah. Cats also purr when they're injured.
Oh.
Stressed, or even giving birth.
Giving birth.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Why would they purr?
Well, there are a couple of theories.
Okay.
One is that it's a self-soothing mechanism.
Okay.
A way to calm themselves down in stressful situations.
So, like, if they're in pain, they're purring to kind of soothe themselves.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Another intriguing idea is that the vibrations of purring might actually promote healing.
Wait, hold on. Healing purrs.
Healing purrs.
Tell me more about that.
So research suggests that cat purrs fall within a specific frequency range.
Okay.
Roughly 25 to 150 hertz.
Uh-huh.
And that's been shown to have therapeutic benefits.
Oh, wow.
Like promoting bone density and tissue regeneration.
So they're like healing themselves.
It's possible.
That their purrs.
It's still an area of ongoing research, but the possibilities are fascinating.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
So next time I hear my cat purring, I can think of it as her own little internal healing machine.
I love that. Okay, so we've got meows, we've got purrs.
Right.
But what about some of the other sounds they make?
Yeah.
I sometimes hear my cat making these strange chirping and chattering noises.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when she's watching birds through the window.
Right.
Like, what is that?
Well, those chirps and chatters are thought to be linked to their predatory instincts.
Okay.
So imagine a cat stalking prey in the wild. They need to be silent and stealthy.
Right. They can't be meowing at the bird.
Exactly.
That's going to scare them away. So those chirps and chatters might be a way for them to practice the sounds of their prey.
Oh.
Or even to try to lure them closer.
Oh, so they're like mimicking the sounds?
Yeah, it's possible.
To attract the prey.
Yeah.
That's both amazing and a little creepy.
It is a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But, it's nature.
That's true.
It's fascinating.
Okay, so we've talked about vocalizations.
Yeah.
But then there's this whole other layer to cat communication.
Absolutely.
Body language.
Body language is huge.
Right. And it's often much more subtle than their vocalization.
Much more.
So we really have to become keen observers to truly understand what they're telling us.
We do.
So where do we start?
Well, one of the most expressive parts of a cat is their ears.
Their ears?
Yeah. Think of their ears like those satellite dishes.
Okay.
They can pick up on the slightest changes in their environment.
So what do the satellite dishes tell us?
So forward-facing ears, especially with a slight tilt, often signal alertness.
Curiosity?
Okay.
Or a relaxed state.
So those are all good things.
Yes, generally good things.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if those ears are flattened back against their head, that's usually a sign to give them some space.
Back off.
Back off.
Yeah. Okay. Ears, got it.
All right.
What about their tails?
Oh, tails.
My cat's tail seems to have a mind of its own.
They do.
It's constantly twitching,
yeah,
swishing, wrapping around my legs.
Right. What is going on there?
Well, tails are another fantastic barometer of their mood.
Okay.
So a high upright tail, especially with a slight curl at the tip, usually signals confidence and contentment.
Okay, so like a happy cat.
Yeah, it's like a feline high five.
High five. Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
But what about when the tip is twitching?
Okay.
I've noticed my cat does that a lot when she's watching birds.
Yeah.
Or playing with a toy.
That twitching tip usually indicates excitement focus. Or even a bit of frustration if they can't quite reach their target. And speaking of frustration, if the tail starts to puff up like a bottle brush.
Oh, yeah, I know that one.
You know that one.
That's the don't mess with me signal.
Exactly. It means the cat is feeling threatened or agitated.
Right.
And is trying to make itself look bigger to ward off danger.
Got it. Okay.
So we've got ears. And tails decoded.
Tails. Now, one of my personal favorite cat behaviors.
Okay.
The slow blink.
The slow blink?
It's like they're giving you this sleepy wink.
Yeah.
And it always makes me feel so connected to my cat.
The slow blink is truly special.
It is.
It's a sign of deep trust and affection.
Oh, wow.
Like a feline, I love you.
Ah.
And the best part is, you can actually slow blink back at your cat.
Really?
To build that connection.
I've never tried that before.
You should try it.
I'm totally going to try it tonight.
It's wonderful.
Okay.
It's a wonderful way to communicate your affection and build a sense of mutual trust.
Awesome. Okay, so slow blink.
Slow blink.
What about head bunting?
Oh, head bunts.
I love when my cat rubs her head against my legs. Yeah. It always feels so affectionate.
It is.
But it's about more than just cuddles, right?
That's right.
I've read about this.
So when a cat rubs their head against you, they're actually leaving their scent behind, specifically pheromones from glands on their cheeks and chin. It's their way of marking you as part of their family.
So they're just rubbing their smell all over me.
In a way, yes.
But it's like a welcome to the pack kind of gesture.
It is. It's a sign of acceptance.
Oh, I love that.
It's a high compliment.
Okay, so head bunting.
Head bunting.
But scent marking isn't just about head bunts, is it?
No, it's not.
My cat seems to love rubbing against furniture, scratching posts.
Yeah.
Even me.
Exactly. Cats are very territorial creatures.
Right.
And they use scent to communicate ownership and establish boundaries.
Oh.
So they're rubbing and scratching.
Yeah.
They're depositing pheromones that send a clear message. This is mine.
So it's like leaving their mark.
Exactly.
So it's all about marking their territory.
It's a big part of it, yeah.
I'm starting to see how scent plays a huge role.
Huge role.
In their communication.
Yeah.
But so far, we've been talking about how cats talk to us.
Right.
What about how they talk to each other?
That's a whole other...
Is it the same?
It's similar, but there are some key differences.
Okay, so there's like a whole secret cat language going on.
We could say that.
That we need to decode.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think we should maybe pause here.
Okay.
Let people process everything we've talked about.
That's a good idea.
And then in the next part, we'll get into... that secret cat language.
Let's do it.
I'm excited about this.
Me too. This is fascinating.
It really is. All right, we'll be back in a minute.
Sounds good. So you're ready to decode some secret cat language?
I am. I'm so ready.
All right. Let's get into it.
So you mentioned that cats use different vocalizations with each other.
Yeah, like what are we talking about here? Well, instead of meowing, you'll often hear cats trilling or chirping to each other.
Trilling, chirping.
It's a much softer sound, or bird-like almost.
Okay.
And it's often used as a friendly greeting.
Oh.
Or a way to just get another cat's attention.
So like, hey, what's up?
Exactly, yeah.
That's adorable.
Yeah, it is cute.
Okay, but what about those less friendly sounds like hissing and growling?
Yeah, those are definitely still in play.
Okay.
Just like with us, hissing and growling are warning signals.
Okay.
They're used to establish boundaries or express displeasure.
So like if one cat's getting too close to another cat's food.
Exactly, you might hear a hiss.
Like, back off, this is mine.
Exactly, it's their way of saying, hey, back off.
Okay, so they've got their greetings, they've got their warnings.
Right.
What other kinds of sounds are they using?
Well, one interesting one is what's called the caterwaul.
Caterwaul?
Yeah, it's this really loud, almost wailing sound.
Okay.
And it's primarily used by unneutered females during mating season, but you might also hear it during territorial disputes.
So if you're hearing that late at night, it might be.
Yeah, it could be.
Some territorial issues going on.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty intense.
All right. So we've got vocalizations, but what about body language?
Oh, body language is still huge. Just like with us.
Yeah.
Body language plays a huge role in their communication with each other. But the signals can be even more subtle and nuanced.
Okay. And you mentioned headbutting earlier.
Right.
They do that with each other too.
They do it as a sign of affection and trust.
Ah, I love that.
So it's not just for us.
Yeah, they're really saying, I like you enough to rub my smell all over you.
Exactly.
All right, so scent, you mentioned that's another big part of this.
Well, scent is crucial.
Oh, okay.
You know those pheromones we talked about?
Yeah, the ones that they're rubbing all over everything?
Right. Well, cats have scent glands all over their bodies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on their cheeks, chin paws, even near their tails.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and they use these to leave scent messages for other cats.
So it's like they're leaving little invisible notes everywhere they go.
Exactly. I was here.
This is mine.
Wow.
Yeah, and those notes can convey all sorts of information from, this is my territory to I was here to I'm ready to mate.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of information.
It is. It's a whole secret world of communication going on.
So how do they exchange these messages?
Well, they certainly bump into each other, especially those headbutts we talked about. But they also engage in what's called allorubbing.
Allorubbing?
Yeah, where they intentionally rub their bodies against each other.
Okay, so it's like a more deliberate scent exchange.
It is. It's a way for them to share information about each other's identity, health, and even their mood.
Oh, wow. So it's like a full-on data transfer.
It is.
Okay, so headbutting, allorubbing. What else are we talking about?
Well, there's also scratching.
Okay.
We tend to think of scratching as just a way for them to sharpen their claws, but it's also about scent marking. Oh, right, because they have those scent glands in their paws.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when a cat scratches a post, a tree, or even your furniture, they're leaving behind both a visual and an olfactory mark.
So it's like a double whammy.
It is. It's like, this is mine, and you can smell it.
This is mine, back off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's important to remember that scent isn't just about marking territory.
Yeah.
It also plays a role in social bonding.
Yeah.
And creating a sense of familiarity and security within a group of cats.
So it's like their way of creating a shared scent.
Exactly.
A family smell.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
It is. It's fascinating.
Okay, so we've got all this scent communication going on, but what about those times when cats aren't getting along?
Yeah.
Like, how do they handle conflict?
Well, as we discussed, hissing and growling are their initial warning signals.
Right.
But if those aren't heeded, things can escalate.
So like actual cat fights.
Potentially. But even in those situations, there's a lot of posturing and signaling before things get physical.
Okay, so like what kind of posturing are we talking about?
Well, you might see them arch their backs, puff up their fur, and flatten their ears.
Oh, yeah.
To make themselves look bigger and more intimidating.
They're trying to scare each other.
Exactly. They might also swat at each other with their paws, or even engage in a stare down.
Oh, wow. So it's like a whole psychological battle.
It is. They're trying to resolve the conflict without resorting to violence if possible.
And usually one cat will back down.
Usually.
Yeah. So how do they signal that?
Well, they might flatten their body to the ground. Or even roll over to expose their belly.
Oh, so like showing their vulnerable spot.
Exactly. It's a way of saying, okay, you win, I submit.
So it's all about establishing that.
The dominance and hierarchy.
Yeah, okay.
Within their social group, but it's not always about aggression.
Okay.
Sometimes those dominance displays are just playful.
Really?
Yeah, a way to test boundaries and reinforce social bonds.
So like siblings kind of wrestling around
Exactly.
to see who's tougher.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
All right, so what about those really close relationships between cats?
Yeah.
How do they express like affection and care for each other?
Well, we've already talked about headbutting and allorubbing.
Right.
Which are both really important signs of affection. But another key behavior is allogrooming.
Allogrooming.
Which is when cats groom each other.
Oh, yeah. I've seen my cats do that. They take turns licking each other's heads and ears and stuff. It's so cute.
It is. And it's not just about hygiene.
Okay.
Allogrooming really strengthens social bonds.
Oh.
Reduces stress and helps to spread their shared scent, further solidifying their group identity.
So it's like a bonding ritual.
It is.
That also has practical benefit.
Exactly. And it's often seen between cats who have a really close relationship. Whether they're siblings, mother and offspring, or even just good friends.
That's sweet. I like that.
It is. It's really heartwarming.
So it seems like they have such a complex and nuanced way of communicating with each other.
They absolutely do. And the more we learn about their communication, the more we can appreciate the depth of their intelligence.
Right.
And social complexity.
It's fascinating.
It is.
I mean, this is really making me rethink everything I thought I knew about cats.
I know, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, but all this talk about scent and social hierarchies, it makes me wonder.
That's that.
How does spaying and neutering affect their communication?
That's a great question.
Because it does change their hormones, right?
It definitely has an impact on their hormonal levels.
So does that change how they communicate?
Well, for one thing, it reduces their urge to mate and defend territory.
Uh-huh.
Which means you'll likely see less spraying, urine marking, and aggressive behaviors.
So it kind of chills them out a bit.
Yeah, in a sense.
But does it mean that they stop communicating altogether?
No, not at all. They still use many of the same signals like headbutting, allogrooming, and body language to interact with each other and with us.
So they're still using all those cues?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's just maybe a little less intense.
Exactly. It's more about refining their communication than eliminating it.
So they're still cats with all their quirks and nuances.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Me too.
This has been so eye-opening.
It has been a fascinating deep dive.
I feel like I've learned so much about cat communication.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, before we move on to any final thoughts, I think it's time for a quick recap.
Okay, sounds good. What are some of the key takeaways that are resonating with you?
Well, first of all, I'm never going to look at a meow the same way again.
I know, right?
Knowing that they developed it specifically for us humans, it's just mind-blowing.
It really highlights their adaptability and their remarkable ability to communicate across species.
It really does. And then there's this whole world of scent communication.
Yeah.
I'm amazed by how much information they can convey through scent alone.
It is amazing.
From marking territory to expressing affection to creating a shared group identity.
It's a subtle but powerful form of communication that we often overlook.
Yeah. And finally, I'm just blown away by the complexity of their social interactions.
It is fascinating.
It's clear that they have their own intricate social structures and ways of communicating with each other that are just as fascinating as their interactions with us.
They're truly remarkable creatures, and the more we learn about them, the more we realize how much we still don't know.
Yeah. It really is like we've just scratched the surface here.
Absolutely. There's so much more to explore.
But the cool thing is that we can keep learning just by, observing our cats.
Exactly.
And paying attention.
Yeah, just being present with them.
Right. It's not just about reading a book.
No.
It's about that real-life interaction.
Exactly. It's about building that connection, that intuitive understanding between you and your cat.
But here's a question that I've been thinking about.
Okay.
If we're getting better at understanding how cats communicate, can we also get better at communicating with them?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Right, because sometimes it feels like we're speaking totally different languages.
Absolutely. And I think that's something that a lot of cat lovers really grapple with.
Yeah.
We want to express our love and affection, but are we doing it in a way that they truly understand?
Right.
So the key is to really learn their language.
So not teaching them ours.
Right.
But learning theirs.
Exactly. And it's not just about understanding the signals.
Okay.
It's about responding to them in a way that builds trust and strengthens that bond.
Okay, so let's get practical.
Okay.
What are some concrete ways that we can improve our communication with our cats?
Well, first and foremost, pay attention.
Okay.
Observe their body language, their vocalizations, their overall demeanor. What are they trying to tell you?
So just be more mindful.
Be more mindful. Exactly. Put away the phone, turn off the TV, and really focus on your cat.
And once we're paying attention, what should we be looking for?
Okay, so look at their ears, their tail, their eyes. Are they relaxed and engaged, or are they showing signs of stress or anxiety?
And how do we respond to those signals?
Well, if they're giving you those back-off signals, like flattened ears, puffed up tail.
Right.
Give them space. Respect your boundaries.
So it's kind of like reading the room.
Exactly.
And adjusting our behavior.
Exactly.
Okay.
And on the flip side, if they're approaching you with a relaxed posture, a raised tail, maybe even a slow blink.
Then it's cuddle time.
Well, not always. Some cats are more cuddly than others.
True.
But it's definitely a good sign that they're feeling comfortable and receptive to interaction.
Okay, so we're paying attention. We're respecting their boundaries.
Right.
We're reading their cues.
Yes.
What else can we do?
Well, don't underestimate the power of play.
Oh, yeah.
Engaging in interactive play with your cat is a fantastic way to bond, build trust, and even tap into their natural instincts.
Like my cat goes bonkers for those feather wands.
Exactly. Those kinds of toys mimic the movements of prey.
Right.
And allow them to exercise their hunting skills in a safe and controlled environment.
And it's fun for us, too.
Oh, absolutely. Play is a win-win for both cat and human.
Definitely.
But beyond play, there are other more subtle ways that we can communicate our affection.
Okay. Like what?
Try incorporating more of those slow blinks we talked about.
Oh, yeah.
It's a simple gesture, but it can speak volumes to your cat.
It's like saying, I love you in cat language.
Exactly. And remember, they're masters of nonverbal communication.
Right.
So pay attention to your own body language.
Okay.
Approach them slowly and calmly. Avoid making sudden movements and let them come to you.
So create that sense of safety and trust.
Exactly.
Okay.
And most importantly, be patient.
Yeah.
Building a strong communicative relationship with your cat takes time and understanding.
It's a journey.
It is.
Not a destination.
Well said.
Okay, so to wrap things up, this has been an incredible deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about cat communication.
Me too. It's been amazing.
And I hope that everyone listening feels the same way.
I hope so too.
So I guess the main takeaway is...
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Observe your cat.
Observe.
And try to see the world from their perspective.
Exactly. And remember, every cat is an individual.
Yeah, that's true.
So what works for one cat might not work for another.
Right. So it's really about getting to know your own cat.
Your own individual cat and just enjoying that journey of discovery.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it's a beautiful thing.
So thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into cat communication.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep those ears perked and those tails twitching.